so much for sticking with Citizen TV. This is a Tuesday morning where we have always, every Tuesday, an all-female panel just to discuss matters concerning the nation. Now, page 7, ODM budget must cater for the referendum. The issue behind this is that the Orange Democratic Movement now wants money for a referendum, which they say will happen. The ODM Secretary General, Edwin Sifuna, yesterday came out and said that the party is looking forward to an inevitable referendum in the next financial year. My question then, and perhaps I'll begin with you, Honorable Beatrice Lachi. Is a referendum the only way to restore sanity, political sanity in this country? Because why else would we be calling for a referendum?
Is it because of political sanity, or we want to do
political sanity and public affairs as well?
I think when you look at all these challenges we face, indeed we really need to relook at this constitution. It can be a I've always said it can be done through parliament. You know, we can agree with the county assemblies, 24 passes, it comes to parliament, they look at it. And we are not just saying a referendum for the sake of, by the way, for us women, we are saying whatever will happen, first of all, we have to safeguard our gains. First of all, what we got in the constitution, we must ensure we safeguard. Yes, I know within a political process there is a give and take, but we will also look at what is it give and take. But we can't be talking every day about inclusion, about all the challenges we are facing, about this corruption we are facing, about many issues that we have raised, about revenue. Why are we borrowing? It's just because, not that we don't have money, we have. But we decided as a country within our constitution that all the revenues locally will remain within our counties. But then again, our counties have decided we cannot, they are not collecting that revenue. Yet we can be able to collect that revenue and ensure it comes back and it goes back to the county now to work properly, and we will be accountable to the revenue that we are collecting. But I remember when the president was giving his address during the State of Nation, and he indeed gave an amount. So I don't know whether, again, it is what he said as the 10 billion. What was it for? Because I thought it's going to take care of all these issues that are being raised, and in a better way, not to polarize the country, but we come out and we do it because we know. Let us not lie to ourselves that indeed, you know, the only problem we have as those who we feel we can do anything and survive in Kenya, all right, is that we refuse to accept inclusion is very critical in this country. Honorable Rosa,
isn't that what the referendum is supposed to achieve, though? But
it is supposed now to bring it. We can. That's why I'm saying call it referendum, call it what. But before we go to 2022, let us deal with this issue of inclusion. Let us not lie to ourselves that it is cozy the way we are thinking. No, no, no.
At the end of the day, Honorable Rosa, do Kenyans need a referendum? Is it a necessity at this time?
I think that one of the biggest problems that we've experienced in Kenya in the last few years is exclusivity in the executive of this country. And a lot of Kenyans have felt like they are not part of Kenya. And in an attempt to unify the country and bring the country together, apart from the handshake, there is also that feeling that we need to widen the top so that more Kenyans can be included in the top and therefore have ownership of how the country is run and feel part and parcel of Kenya. If you really need to do that, you have to go for a referendum. You can only do it through a referendum because you are changing the governance system of the country. So yes, you can only do it through a referendum.
Is it necessary?
I think it is necessary because this country belongs to 42 ethnic groups of us, okay? So if there's a feeling that it's only run by 2 ethnic groupings, I think it is a dangerous thing. And there's a possibility that you could have 40 groups ganging against 2, or 40 groups feeling like they're in the cold, watching the other 2 groupings eating. So I think it is necessary that we get more people included. But then I'd also like to say this. What ODM is saying is that if a referendum is to take place, it cannot be politicized too much, because if you leave it, elections are due in 2022. If you leave it and do a referendum like in 2021, it will be clouded with too much politics where reasoning will take a backseat. So if we are going to have it, then let us think of having it next year. And if you want to have it next year, then it must be budgeted for in this coming financial year.
Okay.
That is
all right. Honorable Passaris, what do you think? Because there's a very thin line between inclusion and taming the ballooning public wage bill. Because when we talk about inclusion, then it means we have to create several other levels and positions of government. We're already complaining about the ballooning wage bill. So how do we balance these two? Is it even necessary to have a referendum?
For me, I mean, I think, you know, I'm not for the referendum right now, okay? And the reason being, I don't think Kenyans are ready for another election. We're still trying to build bridges. We're still trying to embrace each other. And I feel that if we have a referendum, it will further divide the country. And I'll tell you what, the referendum question needs to be framed. And I would love to see the referendum question and then see the mood of the Kenyan people before we say we want to have a referendum. I don't want divisions in this country. I was in Nairobi and I was picking up bodies and I saw what tension and division can do to this country. We're trying to build bridges. We're trying to have Handshake Kenya. We're trying to have the Agenda 4s achieved. We're trying to unite the country and make sure that we work as one and we have one vision. The referendum, if it's meant to remove women, okay, and these are the rumors that we're having, it's meant to remove women. It's meant to reduce the counties. Let me tell you what, devolution has been the best thing that this country has done. It has taken development to places that it has never had development. The biggest problem with devolution and the challenge that we've had has been corruption. All right? I don't think there's, and then if you're talking about also removing the MP, with CDF, the MP has been able to build schools and do a lot of things for the poor people. So I feel that, we really need to, it's not so much, inclusion is so important and everybody feels that they're part of Kenya today. So let's test the referendum questions. Okay. But I feel that maybe we should just have the next election, right? And then, check corruption. Because this country, if we check corruption properly, if we really deal with corruption, we'll be able to sustain this country.
Okay. Honorable Esuda, is it necessary?
Yes and no. But on the whole issue of inclusion as a country, and I want to agree with what Honorable Rosa has said, if so that as a country, and maybe we should even go the way where then we don't even have to vote. We just rotate and have people there, then we are comfortable as a country. Because honestly, we go into elections and we have seen it over and over again, where we get very polarized, and some communities feel that, let alone that some communities feel left out. There are some communities in this country, with the way we vote ethnically, I don't see a Samburu ever becoming a president or a prime minister, even if how good policies, and it's the reality, because we vote on ethnic lines. We can agree all nice things right here, everything. But when it comes to voting, as a country, the truth is we go the ethnic way and we continue to heighten the tensions. And so if as a country, and if it can come up in the referendum question on how we would want that inclusivity to be taken care of, then why not?
So this call for a referendum and the push for it at the grassroots level, is it genuinely for Kenyans or for the political elites here in Kenya, this call for the referendum?
It is for Kenyans. I think it is for Kenyans. Remember,
so it's not for political elite class to keep their positions?
No, I don't think so. And this call for referendum, remember, there are many proposals being made to the BBI. There is the proposal that we could go the South African way, where we will not have constituencies as they exist per se, because we are saying, their proposals also say that the constituencies are too many, where we'd be able to parties would be able to campaign on their party ideologies, and people would therefore be voting for the parties, and will determine how many nominees a party can bring if it's a winning party by what percentage, okay? So in that way, you can actually sort out the issue of too many constituencies. You can also sort out the issue of 2/3 gender rule. So these are things that are being discussed. It doesn't mean that the referendum will automatically, or widening the executive will actually lead to higher wage bills, because there are different governance systems that have actually worked and are working very well. So we could adopt that in trying to answer the question of higher wage bill because of bloated number of constituencies, etc., etc. So you need to look at the whole thing, as opposed to just thinking if you are widening the executive, then automatically you are increasing positions, you know?
Okay.
Do you know, I want to give you an example of Embakasi. Okay, Embakasi was divided into 5. Before it was 1 constituency. The 5 Embakasis, north, south, east, west, central, had only 1 member of parliament, Mwenje. Okay, now it has 5. You've got 5 people representing the people, so we have taken leadership to the grassroots. Okay, before we had 8 provinces, and they didn't really have leaders, we had the administration. Now we have 47 governors, all right, and you go to any county, you can see development. Wherever you go, you can see some development. So for me, I feel we need to give the constitution. We've got a very progressive constitution. Yeah. It took us so many years to get here. All right. I think it is too soon to change it. Now I want to give you an example. Do you remember Godana? Yeah. You know, at one point, everybody said that man is presidential. He could be presidential. The problem with Kenya, right, is that we have not yet got leaders that have emerged. And if the counties actually manage themselves properly, we've got the Kivuta Kibona, all right? People have seen and heard of what he's done, all right? At one point we had Mutua, and then you started hearing a few corruption cases here, and then of course, you know, something went amiss there. But now you've seen what he's done with the police stations. I have a feeling, the police houses, I have a feeling that Kenya will eventually bring a president from the 47 counties, because a president will emerge. Now also remember, the leadership of a country is reflective of the population. The population of Kenya is being put poor. If we achieve the agenda of the president and we uplift everybody in terms of manufacturing, housing, universal health care, and food security, then you will have a more educated population. And when you have an educated population, they will start voting on issues. Okay. Now, in terms of tribalism, when we're going around with Embrace, when we're going around with building bridges, we're educating people that it's not necessary for you to shout and fight and hate each other because of tribe. I think Kenyans are also getting a lot more mature. So I do not see a polarized election. What I see is that right now we need to probably test our constitution a bit longer, all right, and deal with corruption without fear or favor, recover all stolen assets, because we know who's stolen the assets. You cannot tell me that you own this hotel, you own this this housing estate, you have this money, billions in the account, and only because you were a governor. No. But yet you want us to bebeleza them when we are arresting them. No, because I feel, no, I don't want, I mean, if he's guilty, listen, right now, there is no law in place that can make the governor accountable. Okay. There's no law in place. No, but you know, we need to deal with the laws.
Where I always say, we joke with our own country. Yeah. Because when you are becoming a mheshimiwa or anyone, I believe I worked at ESCC and I did a declaration. So why haven't we used this declaration form? In 1 year, you want to tell me you declared you had 2 million, and now 1 year down the line, you're telling me you have 80 million. Even ESCC are joking with those declaration forms. They should come out and say, you signed this. Yeah. You told us you're worth this. Now just give us the magic, abracadabra. What did you just do in 1 year to be where you are today? Okay. And for me, let us now go back to this issue of inclusion. You know, inclusion, whether we like it or not, don't say we are tribal, we will live tribal. Kenya will not live tribal. In fact, when we come to elections is when we realize. That is why some of us women, we wonder, where are you? You are even your own bosses will tell you, you know, we don't know whether you are a Luya or a Kikuyu, so we even don't know what position we can give you, because we don't know now what the Kikuyus will say, what the Luyas will say. So in Kenya, we are tribal from the top. And therefore, when millions of young people wake up and get to Uhuru Park and tell you we shall have 2 presidents in this country, and now here we want to pretend and say we have solved the issue, we are okay. Excuse me? We have not solved that issue. We must get to the root cause of why in Kenya, in this era, we had 2 presidents being sworn in. One by law, the other one by the people. We must get to that conclusion. It is a very dangerous conclusion to lie here that 2022 we will walk in okay. No, No.
We need to take a
Inclusion is
look at
very
feedback.
critical.
All right. Let's listen, or rather read what you, our viewers, are saying in regards to the various conversations that we are having. Your tweets, your SMSs have been coming in fast. Let's sample them. Okay, you don't say who you are on SMS, but 2 elections, Huduma number, census. Now ODM wants a referendum. They have no mercy for this country, but just to fulfill their interests. Mungu saidia.
Daniel Kituku from Juja says, why is ODM so vocal about referendum and yet the BBI report is not yet out? It is these politicians who demolished good provisions in the harmonized draft. Please give us a break.
Okay. Still on SMS, you don't say who you are. The key question that should inform the referendum is reducing the salaries of politicians and high-ranking government officials. I am for Ekuru Court's recommendations. Let's downsize the number of county government. A clause should be added that states public hanging for past, present and future corrupt individuals.
All right, we'll delve into that after the break in a quick while. And Honorable Esude is already saying, do not touch my county. So we'll see how that goes. On Twitter, Munene says, the referendum is necessary. Forget that the country will be divided. We are all joined by one factor, the trials that the government keeps on throwing at us. The country needs to showcase itself in a better representation of running the government.
Okay. Again, will the referendum include the removal of bail for suspects of corruption and economic crime and making it a capital offense? Then I would consider supporting it.
Crafting the question again is the biggest concern for most Kenyans there. We still have another one. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about those proposals and find out if Embrace has its own proposal of how to cut down the ballooning public wage bill. BBI has been receiving several proposals. Cut down the counties from 47 to 22. Some of them cut down to 14. Some of them cut the 416 members to 194.
Reduce the constituencies and the wards as well.
Absolutely. Merge some of them in the process.
And we've seen on Twitter, a lot of you are asking why the ladies are wearing white. We'll get to hear from them.
We'll ask them when we come back.